All right, here we go. We're live. So we've just finished watching The Secret Life of Machines. Okay, you're gonna take care of that, Reef. Not in a mean way, just what do you? Yeah. There we go. Owen. Owen. It's time for lecture now. All right, so we just finished watching the Secret Life of Machine episode on technically just the washing machine, but the circular motion stuff that we're going to discuss applies to both the washer and the dryer. So for those people who are like, I would have liked to watch that episode, you can Google The Secret Life of Machines washing machine. And I think, if I remembered properly, when I looked this up, if you want to go directly to the website, I'm going to type it in here. Yep. The gentleman's website where all of these episodes are archived is and these episodes are all remastered, so they look way better than other versions that you'll find online. And they go through all different machines. I look at them as excellent creations. So now, as a culminating activity, you're going to have to write an essay about how circles are used in the washing machine and the dryer. So what we're going to try and do is throw out stuff that you can make use of, because I don't want to write it for you, but I do want to give you an idea of what kinds of things should you talk about. So to begin with, how many different kinds of circles really are we going to talk about here? 2. And what would their classifications be? A slow one or a fast one? So we have slow circles, fast circle. Now, one other thing that I want to map out, and whether or not, I'm not sure you'll literally have to make use of this. If you have done a complete round of laundry before, first of all, what machine do you start with? The washer. What is the first cycle? Because after you've put the clothes in and you hit start, what is the first cycle you go through? The wash cycle. So we have wash cycle. When that's done, what do you do next? Then you have the rinse cycle. Okay? And after that is finished, what's the next one? The spin cycle. And then you're basically done with the washing machine. So I'm gonna kind of bracket this in here and just put, that's the washer. After you do that, where do you go? You go to the dryer, and for lack of a better term, because I'm not sure they actually call it this, we're just going to call that the dry cycle. All right, so I'll go to a different color on that. Okay, so we're going to use this as kind of the backbone. So when we talk about slow circles versus fast circles, Wash cycle. Which kind of circle? Rinse cycle? It's also because basically the wash cycle looks just like, or I should say the rinse cycle looks just like the wash cycle, but it's just without detergent. Okay? Spin cycle? That's our fast. And the dryer. Really? What are the clothes? How many people have watched the dryer before? Okay. Remember, if it goes slow, what's the kind of motion we see? Yeah, it tumbles. If we do fast, where are the clothes? They're smashed out against the walls. And in the dryer, they do tumble. So that means it may not be exactly the same speed as the slow circles in the washing machine, but in the dry cycle, we do go with a slow circle. So we come back over here. Again, we are going to put together like a logical chain here, and we need some terms. How far over can I write and still be on here? I want to be sure. Oh, hell yeah, I'm good. All right, terms. First of all, what's the term that we'll be using, or that you should remember to use, for the thing that you put the clothes in, whether it's the washing machine or the dryer? The drum. So that is a key term that you should utilize, okay? Because I would like to hear this or see this rather than say put them in the washing machine or put them in the dryer. Because now we're going to reference the drum. Remember our two R words for circular motion? Revolution or revolve, and rotation, and that rotation people would say spin. When we talk about the drum, what word would be more appropriate for the drum between those two R words? The correct answer would be rotate. So whenever you reference the drum, remember to think rotate. When you are, we're just going to put clothes. When you're referencing the clothes, what are they doing? They are revolving because they're individual pieces that are separate. Okay, so let's go talk about slow circles. Tell me about the rotation rate of the drum if we want a slow circle. It's kind of obvious. We want a slow rotation. If we have a slow rotation, remember your circular motion equations? What are our two equations for circular motion? AC equals V sub t squared over R, and what's the other one? FC equals M times A sub C. So, we're trying to put this together in a logical sequence. You get slow rotation. Which variable does the rotation most directly affect or impact or control in these equations? The VT. So if we have a slow rotation, what kind of VT value would we have? What? We would have a small velocity. If we have a small velocity, take me through the equations now. What does that lead to over here? We have a lower a sub c. If we have a lower a sub c, what's the next thing we connect it to? We have a lower f sub c. Now, because we have a lower f sub c, what happens to the clothes? They tumble. Do you guys remember why they tumble in terms of vertical circles? This is the key competition between these two circles. FC versus FW. Which one's bigger if we're going slowly? FW, I'm going to put this in parentheses, FW is bigger than FC. So as the clothes start to make their way up to the top, who wins? FW. And if FW wins, what do the clothes do? Well, they fall. Clothes fall out of circle. Okay? And because they fall out of the circle, what thing that we've talked about, what motion pattern do we see? What? The tumbling. So this is how you create tumbling action. Now here's where we have to make a distinction. So I'm going to split this. Washer, dryer. Why do you want the clothes to tumble in the washing machine? You only want that during these two cycles when the clothes are sopping wet, so that they fall and crush each other and squash water through the fibers. So here we want squash clothes, and then we could put H2O forced through fibers. And if it's in the wash cycle, we also have some detergent to get rid of dirt, but then in the rinse cycle, it's to flush anything left from the wash cycle. Why do we want them to tumble in the dryer? This one's really clever. How does the dryer dry clothes? What's the main way that it does it? What? It gets rid of water, but what does it do to get rid of that water? Heat. So, what's the process that happens that gets rid of the water? What would you call it? Evaporation. So, here you have heat to help evaporation. What does the tumbling do to enhance the rate of evaporation?
Like, airs it out.
Yeah. Some people say it fluffs the clothes up. What does that create? And I'm going back to chemistry now. If you're going to have a reaction happen more intensely, why is it that crushing things up into like a powder instead of leaving them as a chunk of thing leads to a faster reaction rate? It's a two-word phrase.
Wait, yes.
What?
Is it service area?
Bingo.
Oh my god, I literally told her.
What teacher gets credit for that?
Mr. Davis.
Okay, I'm definitely going to tell Mr. Davis that he did his job.
He say that?
So all the other students who say, "Oh, I don't remember that," it's like, that's your fault.
Oh, that's fair.
All right, so the increased surface area,
Oh, surface?
increased surface area increased evaporation, and we'll throw in, there's heat. All this goes together to dry your clothes. Now I got one other thing that I want to include over here, and this is like an extra. Here we got tumbling. We gotta figure out how to, at some point, if you include this without having to like blow your essay up into like a ridiculous length, this is good. What really helps enhance the tumbling that we talked about during the episode? The fins, the little projections. So I'm just going to put this in blue and say enhanced by fins, and I'm going to put that in quotation marks. So if you want to use fins, some people refer to them as shelves, you know, that kind of stick in there. You don't have to explain what they are. I'll understand what you're talking about. Whew. This is awesome. You can put together a super solid, beautiful paragraph with this. So now here's the easy part, because we only got 8 minutes left. The fast circle. Let's use this. What's the first thing we're going to write down? Fast rotation. What's the next thing that gets written down? Yeah, you could say large V sub t. What's the next thing you get? Higher AC, which leads to? Higher FC, and what am I going to put in the parentheses below this one? FC is greater than FW now. So I'm going to leave FW and FC on the same sides, but I am switching the arrow. Now, because of this, what do the clothes do that they didn't do over here? They move to the edge, and even more than that, what happens to the clothes because this is so large once it's out there on the edge? What? They stay there. Even more than that, they get pressed against the edge. Okay? So we're going to go, actually, clothes pressed against drum wall. Okay? What happens because of that? Because they get pressed. What about it? Water gets squeezed out. Water squeezed out. Now, this is a detail thing, but if you work it in, people go, yeah, you're really looking closely. Where does the water go? Right. It can exit the drum because of the holes in the drum. Water squeezed out, exits through holes. Okay? Now that's the best you can do for the fast spin. It gets rid of the bulk of the water, and it only leaves your clothes damp so that when you bring it back over here to do your tumbling in the dryer, your clothes you don't have to tumble them quite as long. And because you're only evaporating it, you really never have any accumulation of like water at the bottom of a dryer or something like that, because it all gets evaporated and goes out through the big exhaust port. This is a freaking awesome essay. It is a beautiful circular motion thing. So the goal here is, if you have taken these notes, we're going to shoot for having you write this on Monday. Because I don't want to give you your laundry assignment until you've written this and turned this in to me. So between today and Monday, really the only thing that you need to do is like go over this and start to think, how would I put this together? And we will work with you a little bit more on Monday to do this, because I am going to limit you as to how many sentences you get to use. So you can't go crazy on me, okay? Because the one thing that I have discovered when people have written this thing is they start to go way too far. And so my directive is always going to be just say what needs to be said directly and leave it at that. And that may mean some of you might think, okay, I can't fit all of that in. And that's okay. But we'll see how you do. Any questions? Okay.